Hello everyone, your storyteller is back. In today's video, we dive into a 2010 German thriller called Iron Doors. It follows the intense story of a man who wakes up after drinking in a small locked room, cut off from the outside world by a heavy iron door. There is no easy way, so let's get started. Turn on the subtitles because there are spoilers ahead. The film opens with a man who appears to be an office worker, awakening with a severe headache. As he regains consciousness, he's startled to find a dead rat lying beside him. It quickly dawns on him that he's trapped inside a vault. The room measures approximately 40 square meters and contains a heavy iron door and a cupboard. Flies swarm around him, buzzing incessantly. One of the fluorescent lamps above is coated with dead flies, while live ones buzz around, even breeding in the decaying rat. The man glances at the clock and makes a desperate attempt to unlock the iron door, but nothing works. He yells and bangs on the door, but there's no reply. With no way of knowing how long he's been trapped, he urgently needs to use the bathroom. Initially, he suspects it's all a prank, blaming a colleague named Fletcher. He sarcastically tells himself that when he escapes, he'll fire his assistant. However, as time drags on, he starts to understand that there's no indication of life beyond the vault door. He tries to call his colleague, but there is no signal. Desperately, he wanders around the room, hoping to find a signal, but his efforts are in vain. It completely cut him off from the outside world. He then goes to the iron cupboard, only to discover it locked as well. Peeking inside, hoping Fletcher might be hiding there, he gets no answer. As frustration grows, he starts looking for hidden cameras, but finds nothing. In his growing anger, he began to verbally abuse his colleagues. In a fit of frustration, he takes off his belt and slams it against the iron door, hoping someone will hear him. After some time, he begins to calm down as hunger and thirst start to take their toll. A day passes, and when he wakes up, he checks his phone for a signal. But in a moment of clumsiness, he drops it, shattering it beyond repair. Desperate to survive, he resorts to urinating in his leather shoe and drinking his own urine. Cut off from the outside world, the man's growing loneliness and hunger begin to drive him toward madness. In a moment of frustration, while striking a light tube, he notices a key glinting inside one of the fluorescent lampshades. After knocking it down, he retrieves the key and opens the cupboard. Inside, he discovers 2 cans of pure oxygen, some tools, and a welding torch. He eagerly attempts to break the iron door with the tools, but to his dismay, they prove ineffective. He tries to burn the door with the welding torch, but his lack of skill only leads to a scorched surface. Next, he attempts to activate the fire alarm in hopes of getting some water, but it turns out to be a fake alarm. Frustration mounts as he then begins chipping away at the wall, only to find that the iron remains unyielding. In a fit of despair, he topples the cupboard and smashes the alarm in anger. While sitting to conserve his energy, he notices a hole in the wall behind the cupboard. Picking up the hammer and chisel, he begins to widen the hole, hoping to create a tunnel. As the oxygen levels drop, he takes a breath from one of the oxygen cans, but it makes him feel dizzy, prompting him to close the valve. In a moment of sheer desperation, he resorts to eating the maggots from the dead rat. As he continues to work, the hole gradually grows larger. He uses the welding torch to cut through the steel bars, and eventually a beam of light shines through, reigniting his determination. After making a big enough opening, he squeezes into another vault, only to find that it's just like the previous room. His initial spark of hope fades quickly as he comes to the crushing realization that all his efforts have been in vain. In this second vault, he discovers a standard lamp and a red coffin. Inside the coffin lies a woman who is asleep. When he wakes her, she is filled with fear, and their inability to communicate only heightens the tension. Terrified, she retreats back to his original room. Exhausted, he collapses into the coffin and falls asleep. When she wakes him, urging him to continue digging, he realizes he's too weak and injured to carry on. Frustrated, she takes the tools to dig on her own. Eventually, she needs to relieve herself, and he uses gestures to explain that her urine is vital for his survival. Reluctantly, she urinates into his shoe, and he drinks it. He also drinks some, and she teaches him to eat maggots from dead rats to survive. They slowly bond over adversity, helping her bandage her arm. Their friendship grows as they try to escape together. Eventually, they realize that the iron door opens when they turn their backs to it. They step into a third room, which contains yet another iron door and an empty grave. Weary and dehydrated, they begin to dig the grave, but the lack of water takes a severe toll on the man. The woman does her best to care for him, even offering him her tears as nourishment. As he hovers on the brink of death, she gently wakes him, providing comfort that rekindles his will to survive. At last, they realize that the door opens when they turn their backs to it. With the woman's assistance, he stumbles toward the exit. When they step outside, they are greeted by a stunning world, filled with waterfalls, birds, and vibrant flowers. Overwhelmed with relief and joy, they exchange a smile, savoring their newfound freedom. The film holds an impressive 4.5 rating on IMDb and has grossed around $39 million at the box office. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up and share your thoughts on the movie in the comments. And remember to subscribe for more engaging movie recaps.